It's the I Can't Mom Today podcast with Heather, the new mom, and Vera, the seasoned mom. I Can't Mom Today.
Hey, this is Vera and Heather back again with another episode of I Can't Mom Today podcast. Hi, Vera.
Hello, Heather. How's it going?
Wacky and crazy and wild and unstructured and bananas.
Hey, it sounds like a regular Tuesday.
Yeah. It's Tanking Tuesday, or I'm trying to
Tanking Tuesday
instead of Wild Wednesday or Wacky Wednesday. It's I don't know. I'll think of something.
Tumultuous Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, it's not tumultuous. It's just, disorganized. It's Harry Carey.
Harry Carey.
How are you?
Lovely. Okay, just trying to stay motivated. I need money. Anybody got any money they want to send me?
If you are shaking the money tree, let's shake it my way too.
Seriously, I'm like, oh crap. And then, I keep getting these alerts, low balance alert. And I'm like, stop, you're stressing me out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just my business has been really slow. So it's just, so in the back of your mind, you're like, oh crap, I hope I'll have enough money in my account to make the mortgage payment.
Sure. Yeah. I'm feeling you with that because, I quit my job last year. And right after, probably within a month of me quitting my job, we had a flood, which carried a $5,000 deductible. And now we're like paying the piper. And so we had to clear out our bank and like transfer, Brad had to go withdraw money from one bank to put in another bank to cover the check that he just wrote. Because let me tell you, cannot float checks anymore, my dears.
No,
not that we do a day buffer usually is nice because we can then maneuver and make sure that all the money's in the right place. But it was literally like the day before we're told that we owe money. And then the next day we had to write a check. And we had most of it. We didn't know what the amount was. It was just like, surprise.
Yeah.
So we're like, I'm like, you need to go. Here's where you can find some cash in the house. Here's where So yeah, We're at like 96 in our savings right now. 96 cents, by the way, not even dollars.
Savings? Where are savings?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just to add on top of all the other just regular stress. But I have been taking they changed my medicine and it's been a few days. It's going to take a little while. It's like the old medicine that they upped a little bit for my thyroid. And then it's another thing, low dose naltrexone or whatever. That's supposedly going to take a little while to see the effects of, but I do feel like I have a little bit more energy. So that's probably because of the thyroid increase. So, so that's good because, you're stressed, you got to get this stuff done. And then you're like, walking through molasses, as my mother would say. So, so that's what I'm trying to maintain a positive attitude that I'm going to hopefully continue to feel better. And that'll make, even though life is stressful in general anyway, that'll hopefully make things a little bit easier to deal with,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I got some good news though. I did get moved back into my office space out of my bedroom. So that's nice.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. I officially became a big girl and got a big girl desk that like rises and lowers on the cheap, by the way, like not these really expensive ones, super cheap as I could without getting just pure crap. So I did that. And so I'm loving the setup right now. So I'm super excited.
That
makes me feel good. Yeah. Yeah.
That's good to have a good space to work in.
It is. It really is. All right. Well, today we're going to talk about breakups with your teenagers because it happens to all of us. I mean, majority of us, right? There are those like 1%ers that you met your significant other in elementary school and you've just always known and you're still together 70 years later. Like there are
almost
those people
never
out
happens.
there, and which is amazing, right? I love that love story, but typically doesn't happen. Typically there's a breakup or two in your lifetime. So tell us what's going on with Luke without giving away too much.
Yeah. Well, what happened, the way this all started was I posted a meme that says, boy, it's hard trying to discipline the you out of your child. And, and just, again, we've talked about this, kind of reacting and being like, oh God, that's me coming back at me from my kid.
Oh my God.
And so then somebody, and this is on our Facebook group, page. And so then somebody posted, tonight we had the first breakup for my almost 14-year-old daughter. Middle school sucks. And I was like, oh man, yeah, I understand, because my son, is now going through a breakup. It's the second breakup. Of course, he's 19, so he's had more time to accumulate. But it is, I think about, you want to console them in the back of your mind, because my mom used to really kind of tick me off a little bit, because she'd be like, well, you're 16, you don't know what love is, and,
Yeah.
and it was very,
yeah,
it's very invalidating. It's very real when you're even 14 or even 13, shoot. When you're going through it. Yeah, I'm in my 40s looking back, I can be like, I don't know what the hell is going on, that wasn't love. But when you're in it at that age, you're in it, man. So I really didn't want to invalidate Luke. I've been trying to take it all seriously for him and understand that this is intense, and everything is so intense when you're a kid. And so it's been difficult, because that's, again, like, the woman on our Facebook page saying, gosh, what do you do for a middle schooler who gets broken up with? And, and how do you console them correctly without making it sound like you're being like, oh, there, you're only 14.
And I feel like also middle school is probably the worst years. Like, I feel like,
oh yeah,
we as humans, that time frame, in the middle school time frame, we are just below the belt as often as possible.
Oh yeah, we're a hot mess. I think most people aren't at their most attractive. Like, your weight's kind of fluctuating because you're still growing, and
hormones are raging. You want to, it's you're greasy, you're grimy, you start smelling really bad. It's just
speak for yourself.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, all the gross juices are now flowing in your armpits and your, I don't know, Baker's feet smell already, but and your butt and crack and.
Well, yeah. And you're just not, I remember too, like, I'd always been really, like I said, you're kind of morphing. So your body's like, you're kind of gaining weight, maybe growing boobs. Of course, I didn't grow any till I was in my 20s. And
we're still waiting for it. We're still waiting.
You're right. So I remember, I'll never forget, I was finally, like, my mom, I was so excited. We went to Marshall's and I bought all my new school clothes, and I felt so good. And I was going to be in the talent show with one of my friends, and we had this awesome little dance routine, and we made the cute sweatshirts with cut off. And I was feeling like, okay, I'm cute. I'm getting there, like, I'm not totally gross. And I'll never forget this little boy. Remember, I'm in my 40s and I was 12 at the time. He's talking to us, and he's like, oh, you guys are going to be in the talent show. Or he was talking to my girlfriend, and he said, oh, you're going to be in the talent show. And she's like, yeah, we're doing a dance. He said, oh yeah, you and that girl with the fat face. And then he looks up at me and he goes, oh, that's
there
you.
She is.
I was like, yeah, apparently so. And that just, like, broke my heart. And here it is 30 some odd years later. I still remember that. So I'm so self-conscious about my face being fat.
Yeah. And these are the years that you're really, the concrete amount of the concrete in your thinking comes from, like, other kids and your family saying things. And I remember I have a weight complex because my grandparents were always like, pinch an inch. And so I always thought I was fat, always. And now that I'm quite heavy, I look back on those pictures. I'm like, dang, I wish I was that fat.
Right.
But it's hard to get rid of those things that other people tell you. And we're going to be talking about this on a future episode about not giving a crap what people think and say about you, and trying to reform those sayings in your mind. But yeah, we're just really nasty sometimes.
Yeah.
When our hormones are raging.
And then here you are, you get in, you fall in love, and you think, oh, this is great, and I have this person who loves me, and and then they break up with you, and it's like it all comes crumbling down.
Yes.
Completely.
Yes. If there's something that you can't, like, something to instill in kids, I think that, first of all, always talk to your kids. And I think having that open communication, and sometimes it's okay to be your kid's friend and listen and have that confidence and that repertoire with them to to know that they know that they can come to you and you're not going to be like, oh, well, that person's not good enough, or that person is just bringing you down. Like, just to be an open book. And I think like my sister did a really good job of that with my nephew. Like, she was always supportive of whoever he was dating, no matter if she agreed with it or not, and let him make his own decisions, versus I never brought anybody home because my mom was very, very judgmental about who I was dating.
Yeah. Yeah. I try not to with Luke. I try to say, I mean, the two girls now that he's dated kind of serious. Well, he's dated, I don't know if I count the first one, because the first one was kind of like, late middle school, early high school. And it, I mean, it lasted several months, but it wasn't as intense as like the next girlfriend was. And then the girlfriend following, who's the most recent breakup. But I still, usually they seem like nice enough girls, they're polite, they're whatever. There's only so well you get to know them. I mean, you can be around them somewhat. So I try to reserve judgment and just kind of watch and see how they interact, and watch and see what the girl does and how, so I try to reserve judgment and just say, yeah, I think she's nice. I don't, and I'd need to get to know her more, but as long as she makes you happy, then that's fine. But then, when he starts telling me the ins and outs of the breakups and stuff, I'm like, okay, I don't know. I can't like judge exactly, because I try to be impartial too, and not be like, oh, well, you can do no wrong, because I don't want him to end up being, an arrogant ass. So, so it's really, there's a fine line there. I want to console him, tell him, that I know it hurts, and you'll get over this eventually. But also be like, well, can you learn from this? And but meanwhile, the poor kid's crying, and as a mom, to see your kid cry and see your kid in pain, it's just like,
you shouldn't be like, they're stupid. You're right.
Exactly. They suck. I want to go beat them up. So it's really hard not to, like, and you want to take the pain away, even at 19, especially that emotional pain. It's just gut wrenching. Oh my God, it is. So basically that's what I try and do as much as I can, but then Luke too, he's struggling with, and the whole thing, because some of his guy friends are like, oh, well, you don't have to be that emotionally intense about the whole thing. They're all about, yeah, go ahead and sow your wild oats. And he's like, but I don't want to. I like being connected with people, and I like having, deep, meaningful relationships with people. And I'm like, trust me, you're 19. As you get older, because a lot of girls that age don't even understand a deep, meaningful relationship,
Yeah.
So there's that balance too, because then he feels like his friends are like, what's wrong with you, and what's up with this deep, meaningful crap, and so he feels a little bit like he's weird.
Yeah. But I think I think things are being more normalized now about males having more feelings and not being one to like sow their wild oats and whatever. I think we can all learn from that as parents going forward, and saying, teach your sons to be okay with being with one person, or if they want to have, and their time periods too, right? I mean, we've all had our time periods, or I know you and I have had our time periods where we're sowing our wild oats, or we're in a relationship, and that's what we want. Or sometimes where we're just like, nope, I'm done with men right now, and we are done, or we just need to be about me. So I think teaching your kids the importance of being you first, and then going to, finding someone is important, because I don't know why we're so fixated on being with someone else. Like, I have to have a boyfriend, I have to have a girlfriend. I guess it shouldn't validate you, right? It should not validate you
but it does.
as a person. I know, but like, you can't be the best in the relationship if you're not the best for you, and nobody can complete you. Like, you are you, and they are them, and together you should complement each other, not bring value from them.
Yeah, that sounds so great. If only.
Yeah. God, right. I know. But like, what are we doing wrong as a society that we're like, you have to pair up? Like 2 by 2, go.
I think it's just kind of human nature. I mean, I think people even end up sort of doing that with like best friends, it's not even necessarily a romantic thing. I think just people feel more comfortable being with another person a lot. In majority speaking, there's some people who are just like, screw that, I'll be by myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's kind of a natural thing. Unfortunately, it's just like, I don't know if it's a survival mechanism, maybe partly too, or something, but I don't know. You just kind of, if you look around, I've noticed anyway, that there are people pair off even as friends. They just kind of tend to do that.
I think also making sure that your child knows that their other relationships are just as important as this relationship too, because so many people that I saw in high school, they would just disappear, just disappear off the face of the earth, and they break up and they're like, where are my friends at? Nobody wants to be around me. It's like, because you don't want to be around us.
Right.
We're here for you. We'll take you back in, but like, come on now. I tried never to dismiss my friends for a boy or whatever. That was big for me.
Me too.
So, I mean, granted, I wasn't dating a lot of people in high school either, so maybe, but even as an adult, like I always was my friendships were very important to me. And so I think making sure to teach your kids that, like, don't disregard other friendships, because like you can still have your girl time. Like I still go out with my girls now as often as I can, which is probably like once a month.
You need it. It's necessary. It's totally necessary. That's, that's one of the reasons that I married Jerry, because I felt like, because I've been in relationships where the man was like, well, why do you have to hang out with your friends all the time? And what are you doing with your friends? I don't want to hang out with me,
awesome.
And it's like, I need the time with my friends, and he understands that and lets me do that. Granted, every once in a while, he'll be like, hey, you want to hang out with me?
No,
because I think sometimes I get to go overboard, but then he's busy too. So, but anyway, so I
you could put a skirt on. Let's go.
Right.
So we found an article, Very Well Family, and we'll link that in the show notes, just giving some insight on some things, just 10 tips on how to help your child through a breakup. And the first one is validate your teen's emotions. And so that's, this is hard. This, this stinks. And this, versus saying like, this isn't a big deal. Like what you were saying, this is just puppy love. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Validating is huge for me. And with any emotion, I always try and tell them your feelings are absolutely valid. It's just what you do with them, just because you're angry doesn't mean you need to punch your fist through a wall,
Yeah.
So, but it's
and if you do, angry, just know that you're probably gonna need money for a hospital bill, and you're And number 2, support your teen's decision. I know that with families, sometimes they get attached to the other person. And so just because maybe you think that person's a good fit for a child, maybe you shouldn't say, well, maybe you should stay with them. They're really great for you, or whatever. Just, okay, that's your decision and that's great. And, I support you in anything that you need to do.
Yes. Well, and speaking of validating, I have to say that this article definitely made me feel a little validated. I was like, oh, okay, I've been doing that. I do that. I've been doing good. So, because that's one of the other ones that it says is the finding a middle ground, because your first reaction might be like, oh, well, you could have done better. They weren't right for you anyway. You're amazing, blah, blah, blah. And like I said earlier, I try to be like, not say I told you so, or not say that he's, the best and without blame or whatever, or, that person sucks. Even though sometimes you want to say that.
Yeah. The next one, be a good listener. I think this is a really good hint for any relationship, because I know that what I do to some of my friends that come to me, because sometimes you just want to vent or get it all out or whatever. And so what I would do is, do you want me to problem solve or do you want me to listen? Okay. Problem solve. Okay. Listen. Got it. And then just absorb it and just say, okay, is there anything else you want to say to me? Do you want to yell at me? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I know for me, I've offered that. I'm like, yell at me. You need to call somebody, yell at me, call me. I'm here.
It takes practice. It definitely, because I find myself wanting to fix it even with Luke. And we've had a conversation about, he's like, Mom, I just need you to listen. Okay. So I literally find myself like biting my lips. So like I'll be on the phone with him, like, okay, don't say anything. Don't say anything. We're not fixing it. You're just listening. Just listening. So yeah, that's not easy, but I'm working on it. And I think I'm getting better as the years go by with him.
Well, good. Number 5, talk about technology with social media. It's, man, what a time to live in, because now you can take sides on social media and just bash the other person, and they have no recourse. And as strong as like your teen may seem, or even an adult may seem, it takes a beating. It takes a lot. So maybe talk to your kids about, maybe just stay off social media for a while, or maybe only watch TikToks or whatever, something that you're not, that may not be something that your kids are gonna, that other kids can get to them through. Or maybe just a hiatus. Maybe let's just read some books, play some games, do some puzzles together.
Or at least, get out of that friend group, because with him, I know he'll get on these like Snapchat groups or whatever. And I've told him that, like, just maybe get out of those text groups and Snapchat groups or whatever, and just don't talk to that group of people for a little while, just go dark so that you can simmer down and they can simmer down and it's all good,
Yeah. And that is the next one. 6, provide a little distraction. So trying to maybe go get them. I know if like Baker was going through a breakup right now, ice cream would work, but he's only 4. So thank goodness he's not going through a breakup. But maybe something fun, interesting that you haven't taken an active role in your kid's life and they've wanted you to. Maybe now is a perfect time to step in and say, I want to do this with you. Like, can we do this?
Yeah, exactly. Plant a garden.
Yeah.
Make a scrapbook or something. I don't know. I take Luke and I go to the movies. Thank God. That was one of the things I missed about, when we were in the pandemic, was going to the movies. So although he doesn't want to see the new Batman movie, I'm very upset. So I got to find somebody to see that with me anyway. Yeah. But yes,
or you can go by yourself, or you can go by yourself.
Yeah, that's true. But especially like if it were a rom-com, it would be a little different. But like a movie like that is so like, yeah, did you see that part where they, where Catwoman flung herself across Batman's head? And I don't know.
I'll give you Brad's phone number. You can call him and talk about it.
Okay, good.
Number 7 is get back to routine. So if you have altered your plans anyway because of a significant other in your child's life, maybe get back on track of routine and having maybe a family dinner, adding more of that family time with them.
Yeah, and just getting back into the routine of things that is helpful.
And then 8, oh, sorry.
Beep. Oh, yeah, no, it's okay.
8, be prepared for the roller coaster, because we all know it's like, I'm fine without them. Oh, I'm living my best life.
Yeah, that's not just teenagers, that's adults too.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're going to be living their best. You're the other half of that relationship is probably going to be posting some really great things on Facebook or Instagram, in my olds, because of Facebook, I don't know, on whatever social media platform they're using, they're going to be living their best life. Right. And they're probably not, because in most relationships, the other person's still hurting as well in some capacity. Maybe it's not as high, but there's that part, that connection that's now not there. Just be prepared for it. 9, seek help when necessary, because I feel like, I don't know if it's that we weren't allowed to feel as much when we were younger, or if it's just being talked about more, but seek help when necessary, because there are times where these kids need something more than what you can provide them. And that's okay. As a parent, you need to know when to search out help. And maybe it's you reaching out to a counselor and saying, hey, I think this is something that my child needs to be seen for. Would you agree or disagree? Should I bring them in? Are there things I can work on at home first and then see how that plays out and then go on? Like, what should I do? So always reach out.
But maybe not even, it doesn't even need to be professional. Cause like, I know in my case, sometimes there's only so much. I've never been a 19-year-old boy. And that's,
wait, what?
Just a man, right?
You've just been a man. Got it.
Yeah, just a man. No, a man in his life, an adult that maybe can, whether it's a friend or, he's got some friends of mine that are friends of his now too, who now have, he has their numbers and he can call them and talk to them. Like his karate instructor is always super supportive. And he's the one that pointed that out to me, because here I am like trying to fix us all. And he's like, you've never been a 19-year-old boy. It's just, it's different. Just like I've never been a 19-year-old girl, sometimes you just need that perspective that person can bring into the equation, that I just can't understand.
And find somebody that is open-minded as well, because just being like, oh, we'll go talk to grandpa or whatever. Grandpa's like two generations
grandpa
up. So he'll be
like,
yeah. And don't get me wrong. There are some
True.
grandpas that are like very in touch and very like, oh yes. True. But for the most part, they just grew up in a different generation and feeling and talking about different things. So maybe grandpa's not the best option, or maybe creepy uncle's not the best option.
Yeah.
Try to find somebody. Yeah. Try to find somebody that is going to mimic what you hope that you can give to your child.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. And then keep the focus on your team. That's the last one. Keep the focus on your team.
Yeah. Basically it's their breakup and not yours.
Wait, what? I mean, it's as much as you might feel it too, right? I mean, some people date for a couple years and you've really become attached to this person. And
yes. Oh yes, that's true. I mean, a girlfriend of mine, her daughter dated a guy for a few years, and he ended up breaking up with her. And I mean, this was like through the beginning of college, so so it was hard, because they were like, oh man, he's not going to be around anymore. And why did things go wrong? And so, they because he basically became like part of the family. So yeah, it's understandable that it would be easy to fall into that, but to keep in mind that, it's not my breakup.
No. If you have any tips or things that you've worked on with your teen and you want to give us some tips or give our audience some tips, go to Facebook at I Can't Mom Today Podcast. And you can also email them to us and we'll put them in a chat or something at ican'tmomtodaypodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram. Vera's going to get TikTok going one day. You just need to feed her enough alcohol and she'll get it done.
Don't forget, right? Just enough wine. And don't forget to rate the podcast too, please.
Yes. Easy, quick. All right. Until next time. Bye.